Hello, and welcome to Soulfessions. I'm your host, Molly Ray. To live a life full of joy, happiness, and connection, to connect with our most authentic self, we must be willing to confess where we are in life. I have worked through many traumatic life events, including giving birth to twins 3 months early. My healing began when I was ready to confess exactly how I was feeling and the work I needed to do to release the pain. I honored my feelings and used my loving connection with music in the healing process. Join me as I speak honestly about my journey and how you can begin your journey of healing and finding joy. It all starts with a Soulfession. Hello, it's Molly. I hope everyone's having a beautiful day today. Are you ready for another week of Soulfessions? Today, I have a little something special for all my podcast listeners at the end of this podcast. And also, please join my Facebook page and sign up for the I Love You More 5-day class. It is free, and we will be focusing 5 days on embracing you and self-love. You don't want to miss it. Come on over to Tune In with Molly on Facebook. This week, I want to talk about receiving and what it's like to be able to receive. I'm going to talk about this from the aspect of being a giver. For me, I have always given, and given some more. I've always been that person that people come to ask questions or ask for help or ask for guidance or ask for an ear. I have always been that go-to girl. But one thing that I got in the habit of doing is always giving. Yet I never allowed myself to receive in return. And as I think back about what happened in my life that caused me to just be a giver and never a receiver, stems back into my younger years. In my house, I spent a lot of time supporting my mother. When my brother was born, she was in a back brace. Well, she had to go into a back brace. And I remember eagerly wanting to help my brother and help take care of him. And then as people in my life started suffering from depression, I was the person they would go to whenever they were in need of support. I almost feel like I came out of the womb being a giver, or with the expectation that I was the giver or the fixer, that I was just that soul that was going to take care of everything. And I've carried that role with me forever. Even in my marriage, I'm primarily, almost always the giver. But when it comes to receiving, I am not good at accepting it, and I rarely get it. But here's the thing. I cannot receive if I'm not willing to accept the receiving. So the next question is, how do you go about taking this understanding? How do you go about learning how to receive? So I want to share with you what I am doing now that is allowing me to be the giver that I am, but also open my heart and my mind to receiving. So one of the first steps to being able to receive is you have to immediately make yourself eligible. Now I want to say we're all eligible of receiving. we're all eligible to receive. But I had to tell myself, you are able to receive. And it felt very uncomfortable at first to think about receiving. And it's something that, regardless of what it feels like when you put it on and try to wear that idea, you have to keep allowing yourself to put that idea on, because that idea will begin to grow on you and you will begin to learn how to wear it comfortably. Another thing that is very important when learning how to receive is you have to be able to open your eyes to seeing the times when you are receiving. I think sometimes it can be easy to miss the small things. So many times in life, if someone, for instance, writes us a big check, we'll receive that. Or we can see and recognize that we're being given a big check. Or if someone gives us a gift and we receive it and we say thank you. But a lot of times I think we equate allowing ourselves to have gifts during special occasions only. If it's your birthday, if it's a holiday, that's times in our lives where, even as someone who struggles with receiving, you can kind of make an exception because this is what is supposed to happen during this time period. Does that make sense? So basically, a lot of times I feel like if we're struggling to be able to receive, some of the easiest times to receive things are in those times of your life where society has said you should be receiving something. You should be receiving gifts at a holiday. You should be receiving gifts on your birthday if you are one that celebrates. But here is what is so interesting about the receiving end. Even though it's easy for us to receive things during those time periods where it is considered normal, many times I have discovered that there are instances where we believe we should be receiving things. And for me, because I have not opened my heart and mind up at those times to receive, I'm not even receiving gifts for holidays or Christmas, or not in the way that I would think that I would be receiving them. But how can I receive if I'm not willing to allow myself to receive? So even in that small circumstance of birthdays, you can't allow yourself to receive anything if you're not open to it. But let's just open this door even wider. Let's think about this. What if you received every day? What would that look like and feel like if you allowed yourself to receive every day? I want you to wear that for a minute. And not only do I want you to wear that for a minute, but if you have a pen and paper nearby, I want you to write down, what are the things that come up for you when you think and hear, I will receive something every day? Are those feelings positive? Are those feelings negative? After you write those down, I want you to take a minute and I want you to really think about, what are those things that you have written down? What things don't feel good to you? So maybe you wrote down, well, if I received every day, I would just be looked at as a greedy person. Who says that you're greedy if you receive every day? Is that something society? Is that a label that society put on that? Is that something you were taught when you were a child? Is that something you learned when you were a teenager? Or did you learn it later on in life? I want you to reflect upon that. Anything on your list that looks like something, a word that looks ugly when the thought of receiving every day comes to your mind. Where did you get that idea? If that idea came from someone else, or from society, or from your environment, I want you to take your pen and I want you to cross those words out. We are letting go of those words today, because in order to receive, whether it be every day, once a month, once a week, you cannot stick labels of ugliness behind receiving. And if you are someone who is giving to others, the universe works in balance. We live healthier when in balance. And part of giving is the receiving that you will get from the universe. And if you wake up every morning with the intention to give yourself in the best way possible, and to put yourself out there and to do for others and to do for the environment in the best way that you can, to put 100% into what you're putting out into the universe, you deserve to receive. Now, I want you to sit in that for a minute, and I want you to wear that for a minute. When I give, I deserve to receive. When I put things out to the universe, I will receive. And we receive every single day. We receive every single day. And most of the time, we're not even opened. We don't even have our eyes open enough to see it. And it could be the tiniest thing. You could get out of your car and there could be a penny on the ground. You could go into a store and someone could compliment you on your outfit, or on your shirt, or on your glasses, or your hair, or anything. That's part of receiving. Receiving is many things. It can be receiving help. It could be receiving support, receiving financially, receiving through compliments, receiving through encouragement, receiving through friendship and love. But if we're walking through life every day, giving, and not keeping our eyes open for the balance within the giving and the receiving, many times we can miss the receiving. So for me, I am learning how to receive by giving myself the ability to see it. And when I see it and I recognize it, I am grateful for it. I make sure I take the time to show appreciation for what I am receiving. Sometimes, depending on what I'm receiving, it brings up a lot of emotions for me, as I came from an environment where I was basically told, we can't help you, you're on your own. So for me today to be able to receive is a very humbling feeling. And it's hard for me to ask for help, and it's hard for me to receive from people who want to give that to me, who want to give that to me and who appreciate me. But I can't learn to receive until I am willing to allow it to happen. So what I'm doing is I'm allowing any emotion to come up that is arising from receiving. And I have to tell you, I've been crying a lot. There have been a lot of tears shed. Because one way that I release old feelings and old belief systems is through my tears. Crying is very cleansing for me. And I always honor that and allow that to happen. Also, writing my thoughts down have been very helpful. And writing about my gratefulness towards the receiving has also been allowing me to receive in a better way. But it has not been easy to take down all of these labels and ideas of, just because you give, don't expect something in return. Well, okay, that phrase is said a lot out there to the universe, but it's not true. But we also have to remember that just because you are giving to someone or something does not necessarily mean that that someone is going to give back to you. The universe might have bigger plans on how it is going to give back to you. So I think sometimes we can have a very narrow-minded idea about giving and receiving. Giving and receiving isn't always, I do something for you and then you do something for me. Giving is, I do something that feels good in my heart and feels right. And in return, the blessings will come my way. The support will come my way. And that is the way that you have to look at. It's the way you have to look at giving and receiving. And you have to be able to open your eyes to everything that's going on around you. You have to be willing to live in the moment and see what's going on, or you might miss that moment. You might miss that little moment when you did receive. And receiving doesn't always happen right after the giving. So it's extremely important to remember that as long as you are doing what feels good and what feels right for who you are, for your soul, if you know that you're a good person and you're doing good things and you're putting yourself out there and you're doing the right thing, then open your heart and give yourself the opportunity to receive the blessings that will come from you living your purpose and living life with meaning and what feels right to you. We all have the ability to live that way, and we all have the ability to receive every day. Abundance is achievable for everyone. It's just not a small thing that has been given for a select few people. And if you can remember that, you can have abundance in so many ways. Allow yourself to think about it. Allow yourself to dream about it. So if you are someone who struggles with receiving, as I do, this is what I want you to do this week. I want you to take a minute and I want you to do that little exercise in the podcast today. I also want you to start writing down every little thing you start to receive. And I want you to write about how that makes you feel. And I also want you to remember to thank it. Every time you receive this week, I want you to say thank you. I want you to recognize it. And I want you to tell yourself that I am worthy of receiving. What I give and put out into this world is worthy of receiving. Sit with those feelings, but I also want you to take those negative feelings and I want you to replace them with a positive feeling. This is something where you have to start to teach yourself to feel good and to be grateful for what you're receiving. And I know for me personally, the more I'm allowing myself to receive and the more I am telling myself I am worthy of receiving, the less I cry about it. and the more I can just feel happy for what I am receiving. And the most beautiful thing is once you start to learn how to receive, once you give yourself permission to receive, the beautiful thing that starts to occur is you can really see all of the blessings that are coming your way every day. If you're somebody that feels like you're all alone and no one gets you, but you start to think about and allow yourself to receive and allow yourself to feel good about receiving, you will start to see the people in your life, or people will come into your life who will appreciate you for you, and you will receive support from them in the most beautiful way. To allow yourself to accept that and allow yourself to be grateful and joyous and happy for what you receive. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope that you are able to go out and receive and be the giver that you are and allow yourself to receive in return. And if you are feeling like you are struggling a little bit with this, I have a meditation available on my website called Opening Your Heart to Receive. It is available for you to download. And if you put in the coupon code podcaster, you will receive it at 50% off. May your journey this week be full of love and light. Many blessings to you. Thank you for tuning in with me today. If you are enjoying the podcast, please like it and share it with your friends and family. To learn more about my soul movement coaching, sound therapy, and other services, you can visit my website at www.tuneinwithmolly.com.